This is the Roundup on CBC Radio 1, and now it is time for the Mystery Project. And if you're a fan of the mystery novel, then you are familiar with this stereotype: the private dick, the steely-eyed loner, the avenging angel of the wrongly accused. Well, they're not all like that. Some are forgetful, thick, and basically inept. James Saunders has written about a father and son set of competing PIs, and they're played by Derek Fowlds and John LeMesurier. Here is part one of a two-parter called The Flower Case.
What are you doing in my office?
You left your door unlocked.
So what were you doing in here?
Well, that's a silly question, Wilbert. One, it suggests that you've got something to hide in here. Two, I wouldn't tell you anyway, and even if I did, I'd probably be lying. And three, it needs no reason to go into a room if it's not locked. And if it's not locked, you have a look in, and that's all there is to it. So let's just say I was waiting for you to bring the coffee up.
Well, here you are. They put the prices up again.
Well, I can check on that.
I know, here, sign for it.
Good Lord. 20p.
Go down and check.
I'll take your word for it.
More fool you. You busy today, Purkis?
Oh, you're joking. Is that what it was, Wilbert?
You mean business?
Oh, it's not just business, it's morals. There's a decay to my way of thinking. A rot. It's come from your generation and permeated into mine. We were all right till you come along. That's my considered opinion.
Well, that's an hard judgment, Dad.
And don't call me Dad. How many times must I tell you?
Purkis.
Well, call me Dad in here, you'll start calling me Dad outside. Remember the golden rules. A, never let anyone know anything unless it's squeezed out of you.
All paid for.
All paid for. And B, eschew emotional entanglements.
You told me.
Well, a good lesson's worth repeating. I married Mrs. Purkis, née Wilbert, for two reasons only. The second being that we were not emotionally entangled and never likely to be, please God. I give you my patronage and advice under the same conditions. The son of Purkis you may be on your birth certificate, but to me, you're Wilbert of Wilbert Limited, which happens to be situated in the office next to mine. Likewise, I to you and Purkis of Purkis Limited. Nice and unemotional, no mess, and safer.
How?
It's information, Wilbert. Information is currency. Our competitors might find a way of making capital out of it.
We've got no competitors. They've all gone broke. There's not enough business for the two of us.
Things were very different when I set you up. I tell you, moral decay's got a stranglehold. And if a man in my profession can't judge the moral climate, I don't know who can. Who goes to a bishop when he's in trouble? Oh, no. 30 years ago, business was booming. 30 years ago, if a party thought his spouse might be up to hanky-panky...
Or her spouse.
Or her spouse, they wouldn't hesitate. They'd come to me, and within a month, I'd have it confirmed.
Or not.
Always confirmed. Divorce followed as day follows night, as a matter of principle. Today, they shilly-shally try to understand, read a new society, and discuss it with each other.
Shocking.
Result is they shake hands all round and make up a foursome. And where do we come in?
We don't. We might as well not exist.
When they stop going to church, it was the thin end of the wedge. Now they stop going to their inquiry agents. It's the last nail in the coffin.
Our coffin. This is the only job I know.
Once they called it marital infidelity and quoted the Bible. Now they call it one of the problems of marriage. That's where the rot sets in, when they start talking about problems. Infidelity, inquiry agent, divorce. That was the natural sequence, no problem. And we ate 3 meals a day. Now there's 10 times as much extramarital hanky-panky about, and we're only getting a quarter of the business.
Not much to live on.
Do you remember when I set you up on your own next door? Gave you your first assignment with it? Wrote it in your dossier myself?
My mother.
Wilbert.
Mrs. Purkis. And the first thing I did when I got married was to reciprocate. I gave you Mrs. Wilbert to look after. Charity begins at home.
Charity?
A figure of speech.
Anyway, it's all business.
No, in fact, it cancels itself out. We pay each other the standard rate. It's what you might call a formal exchange. Any developments on the Mrs. Wilbert front, by the way?
Early days, Wilbert.
Well, the first 7 years is up.
My man did think he was onto something last week.
Really?
At the bingo hall. The party in question was taken to sharing her card with a certain dark gentleman. Anyway, it didn't mature, I'm afraid. didn't come to fruition. They were sharing the cars for purely financial reasons.
Are you sure?
Well, don't query my efficiency, Wilbert.
It just seems unnatural. 7 years.
Something will turn up, don't you worry. Anything to report on the Mrs. Perkis farm?
Not a sausage. How old is Mum? The Perkis woman now?
Oh, it's your file, Wilbert. Actually, she's 64.
There isn't much time to lose, is there?
While there's life, there's hope.
Well, I can't sit here chatting. I've got a following job.
Oh? Who?
That would be telling. Come on, out of my office. I want to lock up.
Wendell Flower. Conservative. Church of England. I think I can say I am essentially a moral man. I run my own business and mind my own business. I read the Daily and Sunday Telegraph. I temper my liberalism with circumspection. No hawkers, no circulars. I have acquired a dog, a child, a wife. Reverse order. I deplore sex and violence. Unorganized sex and violence, that is. Outside the framework of their proper receptacles. Marriage and the armed forces, respectively. As to my personal life... That man's following me again. As to my personal life, I love and trust my wife. Let there be no mistake about that. Marriage without trust is nothing. Moreover, on my side... On my side, moreover, I may say that in 12 years of marriage I have never once desired any other woman, or any other particular woman. That is to say, not for the first 10 years. But if in spite of oneself, one finds oneself affected by the spirit of the times, if it begins to affect not only one's physical well-being, but one's very sanity... There he is. Dodged into that doorway. Who the devil... Right.
Come in. Oh, sit down, Mr. Been running, have you? Nice weather for it, for the time of year.
Now, look here. I am using your services if I do use them, which I should do with the greatest repugnance. I hate everything you stand for, make no mistake about that.
Yes, well, now,
In other words, the weather is irrelevant. I'm not here to pass the time of day. In short, there is a certain code of behavior I don't expect you to understand, and I don't propose to stand here arguing the toss about it. Very well. I see we have nothing in common. I have nothing more to say to you. Good morning.
The party concerned is your wife, I take it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And you want tabs kept on her?
How dare you?
Well, I get all sorts, you know. Nothing surprises me. Just think of me as a machine. Now, do take a pew.
There are certain situations my education made no provision for.
Quite so. Now, Mr. Kettering Fawcett.
Who?
Your name?
No, Flower.
Are you sure? And who the devil's Kettering Fawcett? Well, now, if you'd like to tell me all about it...
No notes.
Oh, it's my usual procedure.
I want nothing on paper.
As you like.
What's that?
A tape recorder. Don't worry. I'll wipe it clean as soon as you've gone. Right, now, where do you suspect she's been doing it?
Who?
The wife.
You cur. How dare you?
I fear we're not getting along at a great rate of knots, Mr. Kettering Fawcett.
Flower. I refuse to discuss my wife's affairs with a stranger.
Affairs?
Business.
Well, she makes a business of it.
I have nothing more to say to you, you swine. My instructions are in this envelope.
Right you are. Substance of the aforementioned instructions. Quote, I refuse to associate with those who peer into private lives for financial gain, with consequent wrecking of connubial units. I am a normal, happily married gentleman, and will not have my wife's name dragged through the mud. Wendell Flower. P.S. Kindly inquire into the movements of Mrs. Angela Flower. Burn this note. Unquote. Not much to go on. Not much to go on. Mr. Kettering Fawcett, you're back early.
I've just seen that fellow again.
Fellow?
I thought I'd given him the slip. Now he's outside. He's coming this way.
Did he see you?
No.
This is the man in question, is it? Lives in the neighbourhood?
He keeps following me about.
That's odd behaviour for a correspondent.
What the hell is going on? Why am I being hounded? Listen.
Mr. Wilbert next door. Bit paranoid, are you, Mr. Kettering?
Might I speak to Mrs. Angela Flower, please? My name is Bloggs. Thank you, my dear. Hello, Mrs. Flower. I thought I ought to let you know something has definitely transpired. Oh, yes, a lead. Certainly a lead. Yes. I thought, as it's been, a fortnight since we communicated last in the flesh, so to speak, I ought to... Yes, give you the good news at once, in case you were getting... No, I don't like to talk over the blower. Dangerous machine, open to tapping, taping, all sorts. I think a personal meeting might be... in brief, the party in question did not go to his place of business this morning. Repeat, not... Unfortunately, my man lost the scent. The party in question was acting very oddly, walking, then running, as if he was afraid of being followed. Yes. Oh, it's a lead, yes. We know the district now. Yes, I've got every man out on it. And, how are you, Angela?
You really oughtn't to take it so much to heart, Mr. Flower. What happens all the time? Take the broad view. To you, it's your spouse. To everyone else, it's just another party having a bit on the side. That's the broad view.
Keep your damn philosophy to yourself. You are lonesome to me. An abomination.
Your privilege, Mr. Tell me, when did you...
My suspicions were aroused in 3 ways. First, the telephone calls.
Obscene, were they?
I must tell you that my wife and I have no secrets from one another.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a telephone call in the evening, I naturally tell Angela afterwards who it was.
Yes.
She does the same. A marriage with secrets is nothing. Nothing.
As you say. But on the occasion in question...
On these occasions, she did not.
Tell you?
Who it was.
So you asked her?
A gentleman does not pry into his wife's affairs.
So next time you listened in?
Certainly not. Well, on one occasion I did happen to pick up the extension.
I
have the conversation by memory. He... Bloggs here.
Bloggs?
Bloggs here. My wife? Oh, yes. He... Concerning the party we are both interested in, nothing to report as yet. My wife. I see. Thank you.
Oh, that sounds fertile. Bloggs. Name rings a bell. One of those parties, do you think it was?
I don't know. What the devil do you think I'm paying you for?
Quite so. Of course, as a gentleman, you didn't ask her about this call.
As it happens, in this case, I did mention it.
And she said it was a wrong number?
How do you know that?
Well, they all say that.
Perhaps it was. I just don't know.
But if it was, why would she say, I'm extremely obliged to you, Mr. Perkins? I'll bear that in mind.
She didn't say that at all.
Well, what was it again?
I see. Thank you.
Oh, I usually take notes. Well, why should she say that to a wrong number?
She's a very polite woman. She'd never dream of being rude, even to a wrong number. She's the sweetest, dearest...
Yes, well, can we keep at it, Mr. Foldering Spoon? Now we're getting on so famously.
Yes.
2.
2 what?
Your second point of suspicion.
Yes. Her trips out. In the evenings. Leaving me alone. With the au pair girl. Oh.
Touch of indigestion, Mr.
I suppose I should explain that over the past 2 years, we've had a very high turnover in au pair girls.
This is relevant, is it, to your wife's,
That's for you to judge. We used to go through them fairly moderately. One girl would last us anything from 6 months to a year. That's not unreasonable, I think.
No.
When I want your opinion, I'll ask for it. Then she took to changing them.
Ah.
First it was every couple of months, then by the month, by the fortnight, once a week. Latterly they were coming and going so rapidly I didn't know one from the other. Until Gita.
Gita is...
The last one.
Ah.
She's been with us 3 months. Still going strong.
Presumably the others didn't suit. Difficult to rub along with, your spouse, is she? I mean, hard to please?
No. She's a sweet, gentle soul. No, believe me. I've sat up at night studying this paradox, and I was able to reach only one inescapable conclusion.
Which is?
They were chosen for their busts. No notes.
I'm just reaching for a cheroot.
My wife is an idealist, you see, a woman of great sensibility.
Mm-hmm.
I searched for a progression in some particular aspect of the girl, some refining process. I could find nothing, no pattern. I put it down to my grossness of observation. The quality, I said to myself, whatever it is of too ethereal a nature for my eyes. Then, one evening, my wife had gone out. I was sitting there when Gita brought in my nightcap.
Yes.
I suddenly realized that it was staring me in the face.
The
busts. The busts. There was the missing link. There was my progression. A succession of increasing bust measurements.
Odd way to choose an au pair girl. Aren't you? Different people have different ways of assessing character. Now, this puts paid to my first theory, viz., that your spouse was changing the girls because she thought you were after them.
She trusts me implicitly.
Oh, it's just a theory.
And if she didn't, would she then furnish me with a constantly changing supply?
Well, she might like to keep them on the move, so to speak. Now, where my theory falls down lies in the fact that were it true, this progression you've noticed would be, you might say, a constantly diminishing one, tending towards zero with respect to the bust factor, whereas it was, in fact...
The reverse.
But why stop at Hilda?
Who?
Bertha?
Gita.
Why stop with her?
If you saw Gita, you would not ask that question.
No?
Gita is the end of the line. Beyond Gita, the mind boggles.
I see. Well, let's see where we've got to now. Your spouse is off to her nightly orgies, leaving you alone with a succession of young female parties of ever-increasing bust measurement. So what was your response to that?
What would a gentleman do?
Well, you better tell me.
I bought a dog.
You bought a dog, I see, yes.
To take for walks. The pressure became very great.
You were, as it were, pushed out of the house by these, busts.
I stood it for as long as I could, but as time went on, the tempo began to quicken. I took the only possible course and bought myself a mastiff.
Well, why that particular breed?
For stamina. How can a person who hates walking stay out for the maximum possible time? He buys the largest possible dog. He walks the tyke 5 miles to the nearest pond. There he throws sticks. The cur, being indefatigable and incredibly stupid, retrieves them as fast as they are thrown. When his right arm aches, he throws with the left. When the left arm aches, he calls his faithful brute and trudges the 5 miles home in the rain.
Yes, that ties up. Does this dog have a name?
Does it matter?
Well, how can I say without knowing what it is?
No.
No name.
Why should I give it a name? To me, it's not a dog, but merely an instrument of escape. I detest dogs almost as much as I detest walking, throwing, and ponds. And inquiry agents.
Quite so. Well, now we're getting along very nicely. What we haven't yet established, though, is the connection between the girls on the one hand and Bloggs, or whatever his name is, on the other.
His name is Bloggs.
Not necessarily. You'll be surprised how many assumed names there are about. I mean, am I really Purkis or am I not? That would be information, you see, which I'm not prepared to divulge. As for you, I don't for a moment assume that your name's really Fotheringay.
It's not.
Well, there you are. You did your dog a good turn not naming it. No name, no blame. Names are identity. Without a name, you can do as you like. You've got the power.
I didn't come here for a philosophical argument.
Yes. Well, we're off the point. Which was,
The connection between...
Between?
The girls.
And,
Blogs.
Precisely.
The connection's obvious.
Is it?
Damn it. Am I to do your job for you?
You tell me what you think, then I'll tell you what I think.
I think my wife has arranged these girls for 2 reasons, both concerned with nothing but my well-being. One, as company for me while she is out.
Something to put your mind to. While she is with the man Bloggs, or whatever he calls himself.
He calls himself Bloggs.
Right.
2, to put me off the scent in case I should brood on her whereabouts.
To keep your mind off her.
I don't know, you see. What do you think?
You may well be right.
You think so?
Or wrong.
Huh?
She might, you see, have the idea that as long as she knows or thinks you're having a bit, it's all right for her having a bit.
You swine.
In which case her plans are misfiring, because you're not. Are you?
How can I? I mean, how could I? It's the uncertainty that's destroying me.
Now, one point we haven't covered. Now, what was it?
Where does she say she goes?
Yes. Where does she say she goes on these...
Her sisters.
Her sisters what?
She goes to her sisters. She says.
She has got a sister, I suppose.
Of course she's got a sister.
Oh, I just thought this might be a flaw in her story, looking for loopholes. You never thought of following her?
What do you think I'm here for?
Oh, I mean yourself, with the dog, perhaps.
Follow one's own wife? What do you think I am? In any case, she takes the car.
Telephone the sister?
She's not on the telephone.
Send her a postcard?
I'm not on speaking terms with my wife's sister. I never have been. I hate her. She hates me.
Well... Yes, well, that's all, I think, for the moment. Oh, there is one other thing.
What?
I don't know, there's something niggling at the back of my mind. Can you think of anything?
The man who follows me about.
Precisely. Can you describe this man?
Of course. He doesn't exactly make himself inconspicuous. Medium height. Brown hair.
I'm getting the picture.
Lank brown hair. Same colour as his boots.
Brown boots?
Steel-tipped.
How do you know that?
Because of the noise.
Logical deduction, very good. Anything else?
Fawn raincoat.
Ah, yes, now we are getting somewhere. I was a little worried about the portion between the hair and the boots, but now we've pinpointed him, I think.
And a moustache.
Marvellous. What another detail. Well, that's all I need to know for the moment. I'll be in touch by phone.
Phone?
Well, I shall naturally use my assumed name, or one of my assumed names.
What is it?
Bloggs.
What?
Something bothering you?
Does it have to be Bloggs?
Oh, it always has been. I've been Bloggs over the blow for the past 20 years. Not had any trouble so far. What I'm easy. I mean, Blags, Blags, Higgs.
Higgs.
Higgs I am. Now, just before you go, if I might run over the main points again, just to get it straight. Your wife, Hilda, has started the habit of conducting orgies at your sister's with possibly the same man who has been following you under an assumed name. Meanwhile, because of your Alsatian, you've been forced to terminate your association with the girl Bertha to the detriment of your health. Consequently, your wife...
I don't care what you do, so long as you get something definite. I must know.
Something definite. He's asking a lot for his money. I forgot to discuss money.
Yes, of course, I understand. Integrity. Yes, exactly. We're birds of a feather, Angela, you and I, if I may say so. Look, I must go. I have a client here. So, Mrs. Flower, shall we say a meeting this evening to discuss recent developments and decide on further steps to be taken? Usual time, usual place. I look forward to that. 8:30, bird in hand then. Goodbye. Coming.
Come in, Wilbert.
I'm in.
So I see. Well, take a seat.
Your turn to get the tea.
I know. How was the following?
Oh, moderately successful.
You lost the party?
What makes you think that?
The moderately.
Did I hear you with a client?
Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. And do you mind taking your boots off my desk? Those steel tips play havoc with the surface.
Oh, sorry, Dad.
What?
Purkis.
And you need a haircut.
You've been saying that for weeks.
How many times must I tell you? If you want to blend in with your surroundings, keep yourself neat. Heavens, look at that raincoat.
So, who was the client?
Never you mind. Here's a poser for you. Why would a correspondent follow his mistress's powers?
This is to do with a new client, is it?
Hypothetical, Wilbert.
Why would a correspondent follow his mistress's spouse? 1, to murder him.
Mm-hmm.
2, so he'll know where he is.
Oh, no, where who is?
Correspondent will know where the spouse is. That way he won't get caught.
On the other hand, he can't be doing anything to get caught out, can he? Not while he's following the spouse.
True. How many answers are there?
How do I know?
Here's a good one. The correspondent, suspecting that the spouse is himself conducting an amour, follows him so that, having confirmed his suspicions, he can confront the spouse with his knowledge and thus put himself in a position of power. Thus, he could continue his own amour without fear of the consequences.
Yes, but since the spouse would then know of the correspondent's amour, he too would be in a position of power.
And I suppose the mistress.
Both mistresses. Interesting.
Hypothetical, you say?
Purely.
I like this game.
That was the first half of The Flower Case by James Saunders. And in the cast, you heard John LeMesurier as Purkis, Derek Fowlds as Wilbert, and Robert Lang as Mr. Flower. We'll have the conclusion of The Flower Case next week on The Roundup. The coordinating producer of the Mystery Project is Barry Morgan. The executive producer is Bill Howell. I'm Kevin Sylvester, sitting in for Bill Richardson for the month of January, and it's time to thank the people who put this great show together. Rosemary Allenbach, Mary Ellen Robitaille, Andrea Hunter, Anna Bonakowski, Paolo Pietropalo, and the executive producer of The Roundup, Heather Kennedy. Have a great weekend.
Na 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 na, goodbye, sad goat. I gotta go.
That was very memorable.
Love your show. Love the show. Thank you.
Have a good one. Here's to you, sad goat.
Thank you so much. Love your show. God bless.
Thank you very much, Bill. Thank you. Bye. Anyway, sad goat, it's nice talking to you. Bye now.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye now.
Sad goat, I love ya. Bye.
Okie doke. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Love your show. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Enjoy your show. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Have a nice day.
Happy Motors.
Bye.
Bye, Canada.
Have a nice day. Bye.
You made my day.
Here's a poser for you. Why would a correspondent follow his mistress's powers?
This is to do with a new client, is it?
Hypothetical, Wilbert.
Why would a correspondent follow his mistress's spouse? 1, to murder him.
Mm-hmm.
2, so he'll know where he is.
Oh, no, where who is?
Correspondent will know where the spouse is. That way he won't get caught.
On the other hand, he can't be doing anything to get caught out, can he? Not while he's following the spouse.
True. How many answers are there?
How do I know?
Here's a good one. The correspondent, suspecting that the spouse is himself conducting an amour, follows him so that, having confirmed his suspicions, he can confront the spouse with his knowledge and thus put himself in a position of power. Thus, he could continue his own amour without fear of the consequences.
Yes, but since the spouse would then know of the correspondent's amour, he too would be in a position of power.
And I suppose a mistress.
Both mistresses. Interesting.
Hypothetical, you say?
Purely.
I like this game. Here's one for you. Why would a male spouse, left alone evening after evening with a buxom au pair girl, buy himself a dog when he hates dogs?
What did you say?
Hypothetical. Are you going out this evening, dear?
I thought I might look in on my sister, poor lonely soul.
I see.
Wendell, do you think the music is a little loud?
Sorry, dear. Be quiet, girl.
She's looking forward to her walkies.
Down, you brute. Don't say that word.
Walkies?
Oh, coffee?
Thank you, Gita. Is that a new perfume you're wearing?
They call it Panther's Breath.
It certainly carries.
Oh.
What's that, dear?
A touch of indigestion. I'll get it.
I'll take it.
Hot as hell, black as sin, sweet as love.
What?
Your coffee, Mr. Flower?
Yes. Thank you. Panther's Breath?
Yes. Does it like you?
Wendell, do you know Mr. Phelps?
No.
Another wrong number. I think you must have the wrong number.
Damnation. Parks. Bugs. Hog.
I'll go. Hello, who's there?
Mr. Flower. Hog here.
Who?
Spriggs.
Who the devil is that?
I'm afraid it slipped my mind.
Is it you, Perkis?
That's right. I thought I ought to let you know of a sudden development concerning the party we are both interested in. Hello, are you there?
What did you say just then?
I said, are you there?
Before that.
Oh, concerning the party we are both interested in, I have a rather unexpected lead. Absolutely definite. I've had my best man on it.
Go on.
Well, I don't like to talk over the blower. Open to tapping, taping, all sorts, you know. Suffice it to say, I've discovered the identity of the man Higgs.
The man who?
Ah, that was the name, yes. No, Bloggs. I think a personal meeting might be in order at this juncture. Give me time to sort certain things out. Say tonight,
Yes.
8:30, bird in hand suit you?
Yes.
And bring the dog. Heard so much about it. Till then, Mr.
Perfidy.
Who was it, dear?
Wrong number.
You took a long time to find out.
12 years, Angela.
What, dear?
How could you?
More coffee, Mr. Flower?
No.
Well, I'll slip round to my sister's then, poor soul. You'll be out throwing sticks, I expect.
Yes. I shall throw sticks.
And I shall take a bath.
Here you are, Mrs. Angela.
Thank you, Mr. Wilbert.
Please, call me Frank.
Yes.
Cheers.
Good health, Frank. You said suspiciously. He couldn't have suspected.
Impossible. I've had my best man on the job. As near invisible as makes no difference. And it goes without saying, the soul of discretion. Would you care for a crisp?
Thank you. So, you think it's definite?
That would be my professional opinion. The impression my man got was of someone consumed by guilt.
Poor Wendell.
One little vignette might interest you. Passing an advert, a poster this morning, some sort of model, you know, for a soft drink, I think rather provocative, tore a strip from the torso. Of course, none of this would hold water in the courts.
I'm not thinking of the courts, Frank. I'm thinking only of my poor husband. I'm doing this for him.
Oh, you've got a lovely nature, Angela.
Frank, I want to explain.
What?
Everything.
Is that wise? I mean, what's in it for you?
Ah, there you are, Mr. Wainwright.
Flower, sit down.
I'm sorry to be late. Had to check the premises. Case the joint, as we say in the trade. Can't be too careful. Ah, you've got a drink for yourself, I see.
Sit down.
Large scotch, I'd say to guess. Very nice. Right, I'll get myself one.
No. Stay here.
Oh, well, you'll get it, will you? Very kind.
No.
No?
Sit down. Sit.
As you wish.
Not there. In front of me. So I can't be seen.
I told you not to worry about that. Don't keep a dog if you can bark yourself, eh? Yes, and talking of dogs...
Be quiet, you cur.
Sorry.
The dog.
Oh, a nice-looking animal.
Hateful. Do you want it?
Sorry?
Do you want the tyke? I've done with it.
But what about your cover?
All that's over. I've thrown my last stick.
Oh, I don't think that's wise. Keep your options open, that's my advice. Always leave room to manoeuvre. Though if you're really set on disposing of the animal, well, we can discuss that later. You'll want my information. I'm afraid it's going to come as something of a bombshell.
Not in the least.
Sorry?
Go on.
Why are you telling me all this?
I do not want you to misunderstand me. I mean, my motives in...
Oh, you've got a pure nature. Some people would consider it an asset.
What?
Being misunderstood. They'd say it gives them power, room to manoeuvre.
I find that abominable.
Oh, so do I.
As for Wendell and me, we've always been completely frank with one another. I think frankness in marriage is everything.
Absolutely.
Except where other considerations have to be taken into account.
Such as?
I mean the other person's feelings. One has to balance one's wish to be honest against the knowledge that one's husband is all too easily hurt. Are you married, Frank?
No, but I know what you mean.
Poor Wendell wouldn't. I don't blame him. Men, on the whole, take more easily to deception.
The male nature.
Certainly his. He keeps his thoughts to himself. It's left to me to read between the lines, to find out what he can accept and what I must conceal from him for his own peace of mind. Luckily, I can read him like a book, a badly printed one.
I love the way you talk.
And that's how I first came to realize something was wrong.
With your marriage?
There's nothing wrong with my marriage, Mr. Wilbert. I mean with Wendell.
Ah.
It was about 2 years ago that I first realized he was keeping something back from me, when he started to ignore the au pair girl. She was a pretty little thing. You can imagine what most women would have thought when he began to behave as if she didn't exist.
That he was,
Yes. And trying in a crude way to put me off the scent. Needless to say, the thought didn't cross my mind. But the girl was obviously upsetting him in some way. So I changed her for another.
Very wise.
And he did the same thing again.
Ignored her?
My only concern was for his happiness. You must understand that.
Oh, I do.
And to regain the trust and confidence we'd had in each other. I wanted to bring it into the open, you see. Whatever it was upsetting poor Wendell, so that I could explain to him that he mustn't worry about my feelings, that he was free to do whatever he thought fit.
As long as he told you about it?
Yes. After the 4th or 5th girl, I realized he couldn't possibly be having affairs with all of them.
Why not?
He's not that type. So I thought, can there be some quality in these girls which he finds distasteful? Do they lack some visual attribute which offends his sensibilities? I found ever more comely and buxom girls. It became a sort of hobby.
Like stamp collecting?
And then...
He bought the dog?
He hates dogs. I knew then.
That he was having a bit on the side. No wonder he had no time for the girls you provided.
I pretended to find them distasteful so as to convince me of his fidelity.
To put you off the scent. Men were deceivers ever.
I had to win him back to the home. He has a weak chest, did I tell you? And if not to me, then at least to someone I could...
keep your eye on.
It's not knowing, you see, which is the worst thing. I determined to get him interested in one of the girls. I laid them on thick and fast. I went out evening after evening to see my sister, that detestable woman, so as to leave them alone together.
With no result.
He went out with the dog, didn't he? To who knows where?
To this pond, whenever I followed him, to throw sticks.
But not to worry, Angela. I'll break his cover.
I must tell you, Frank, I'd never dreamed my husband was capable of such double-dealing. I must rethink my position. You realize that?
So there you have it. The pieces fit neatly into place. Bloggs and your following party are one and the same. And that same an inquiry agent in your spouse's employ. Bombshell, eh? I must say I'm surprised you've taken it so calmly.
Are you?
Now, this new development raises a number of questions.
Does it?
Raises it more than it solves, in fact. I tell you this in case you were thinking of dispensing with the services of my organization. Now, look at it this way. The mystery phone caller equals Bloggs equals an agent. Now, does your spouse, in that case, go out of an evening to her sister's or to confer with Bloggs, the agent? I shall call him Bloggs, though I happen to know this is an assumed name, but don't ask me how. Or to keep an assignation with a third party, X. Or all three turn about. Has she even employed this evidently incompetent agent on purpose, so that you would find out, as indeed with the help of my agency you have, and so put you off the scent of her activities with a third party X at or not at her sister's, or...
Enough of this. Look behind you.
Look behind me?
Look behind you.
Yes, but what am I supposed to be looking at?
Put your glasses on, man. Over there in the corner.
Oh, good Lord.
Well?
Never seen either of them before in my life.
The woman's my wife, you fool.
Oh, God almighty.
And he's the one who's been following me about.
Ah, yes. Bloggs.
But you said you'd never seen him before.
I'm sorry. I was looking through the wrong bit of my bifocals. Yes. That's Bloggs right enough.
Hello, Mrs. Flower. I thought I ought to let you know something has definitely transpired. Oh, yes, a lead. Certainly a lead. Yes. I thought, as it's been, a fortnight since we communicated last in the flesh, so to speak, I ought to, yes, give you the good news at once, in case you were getting, no, I don't like to talk over the blower. Dangerous machine, open to tapping, taping, all sorts. I think a personal meeting might be... in brief, the party in question did not go to his place of business this morning. The question now is to decide on the next step to be taken.
Confront him with my knowledge, I suppose.
Now, I wonder if that would be a wise move at this juncture.
Do you?
I mean, since we know more about him than he knows about us, you, it might not be to your advantage. He is, you might say, the guilty party, so you might as well keep the initiative with you. And then again...
Yes?
I was only thinking, since you say you're not contemplating court action...
No.
In that case, there might be certain dangers involved in telling your spouse that you, know.
What kind of danger? All I want is for us to be frank with one another. Frank?
Oh, I see that, and I realise all this must be a torment to a naturally honest person like yourself. But as you said yourself, honesty is a luxury we can't always afford.
Did I say that?
There's honesty and there's prudence, both virtues of the highest order, but not always completely, compatible. What you've got to do, you see, Angela, is put yourself for a moment in your spouse's place. You can't just think of what you want to do. You've also got to think of the effect what you want to do is going to have on the person you want to do it to.
The last thing I want is to hurt poor Wendell.
Right. And also, you don't want it bouncing back in your face, so to speak. Imagine you're him. For 2 years, let's say, or however long it is, you've been conducting a little amour. Or it may be a series of amours, quietly, discreetly, even going to the expense of buying a dog for the purpose of putting your spouse off the scent. Why? We don't know. But let's say, for the sake of argument, it's so as not to upset her. That is, you. Then you come along, that is, she comes along, and lets it out that she's had the best agency in town watching your every move.
Would he have to know that?
Well, once you start giving rein to frankness, you never know where it'll stop. Men are sensitive creatures underneath. I know. I happen to be one myself. It might drive him straight to the courts.
So what do you suggest?
Another point is this. You've got certain information, and he doesn't know you've got it. That gives you an advantage. An advantage gives you power. And power allows you to be magnanimous. That's a very strong position to be in, once you can afford to be magnanimous.
You're very persuasive.
So what I suggest is this. Let things ride for a while. Don't rush into anything. Hold your trumps.
You may be right.
After all, it would be a pity if we were to have to terminate our arrangement at this juncture.
Yes. Frank.
No, mister. You take my word for it. If there is a paramour, and that, of course, remains to be discovered, the party calling himself Bloggs is not he. Leaving aside the intuition, which comes from a lifetime experience of these matters, there are professional considerations of an ethical nature. It would be most improper, not to say inexpedient, for the agent himself to assume the mantle of a potential correspondent. There are strict codes of conduct in our business. A man could be struck straight off the register. So I think I may safely say...
Then why are they holding bloody hands?
What?
Look behind you.
One moment.
No, don't worry. They've got eyes only for each other.
Yes, there does appear to be a degree of digital contact.
Digital contact? They're holding bloody hands.
Yes, let's not jump to conclusions, Mr.
He's seen me.
God almighty.
What is it, Frank?
Nothing. I thought I saw someone I knew. Nothing like him, actually. No resemblance whatsoever. Angela, would you care to move on somewhere else?
Oh, I like it here. I feel it's our place.
Yes.
Well, at last my course is clear.
Is it?
There's only one honourable thing to do. Go over there, confront her with my knowledge, knock him down, and drag her ignominiously back to the house.
Do you think that's wise?
Wise? Be damned.
Oh, yes, I understand your feelings. Only look at it this way. What happens next?
I've just told you.
I mean, after that. You knock Bloggs down, take your spouse home. Bloggs will get up again, your spouse will go out again. Eventually, you can't keep her incarcerated forever, can you? Thus, of course, if you terminate their association at this juncture, I don't think digital contact will stand up in court.
I've told you the courts don't come into it. I love my wife.
Quite so. So what's in it for you? You'd have blown your cover.
But he saw me.
But did she? And is he sure you saw him? If so, should he tell her? In which case, should she tell you? You're in a strong position, Mr. You've got them in a state of confusion, which gives you freedom to pursue your own...
Gita!
Your own...
I'd forgotten Gita. She was having a bath, you know.
Oh, was she now? Well, there you are.
So you think I could justify...
Oh, well, put it this way. Your spouse did it first.
What a despicable thing to say.
I'll put it this way, then. A, the man Bloggs would hardly be in a position to watch your movements, since he knows you may be watching his. B, your spouse's attention is otherwise engaged, and in any case, since you know about her, whereas she neither knows about you, nor knows that you know about her, you can, if you suspect she may be about to tax you with it, make a preemptive bid and tax her. But since both your spouse and the Bloggs man have other irons to fry, I mean, fish in the fire...
All right. Enough of it. Here. Buy yourself a drink.
Oh, very kind of you.
I'm going home. Give me covering fire. I mean, watch their every move. Report. And let me pass.
Now, don't forget the dog, Mr.
Damn the dog. Here, take his chain.
What?
Have you got it?
But, yes.
Wind it round your wrist and hang on tight. He's a powerful brute. Report tomorrow. Get out of my way.
Sorry. No. Good dog. There's a good boy. Oh, dear. Like a biscuit, would you? Packet of crisps. Like to go walkies? Oh, now, steady on. Stop that. Down. Get down, you brute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you would still be out.
Gitta, you've had your bath.
Yes, I was to listen to the radio while I dried my hair, but I will go up.
Sit down, Gitta.
Oh.
I have something to say to you.
Yes, Mr. Flower.
So my guess is that this male party, who I happen to know vaguely, an incompetent calling himself Bloggs, has been hired by your spouse to look after the dog each evening, while the said spouse visits a place unknown, possibly a small flatlet where the presence of a large mastiff might be an encumbrance, to conduct a business which may only be guessed at.
Horrible.
'Tis nasty, isn't it? What I like to call the unacceptable face of extramarital activity.
Well, one good thing.
What's that, Angela?
I no longer feel obliged to visit my dreadful sister.
True. On the other hand, I don't see any point in telling your spouse you're not visiting your sister.
Quite.
Dear. Unprofessional, Wilbert. Most unprofessional.
I happen to be with a client.
Oh, come.
How dare you say come in that tone?
Wilbert, you were holding hands. And get down, you cur.
You imagined it, a visual fantasy. I've heard of it happening.
Don't question my powers of observation. I was watching couples holding hands before you were born, my lad.
Wilbert, if you don't mind.
You were caressing her hand in a suggestive and improper manner.
Now, don't come that court talk with me. We were discussing a matter of business, and our extremities happened to come into contact for a moment.
If you knew how many times I've heard the correspondent say that.
If I'm going to my office, I have a client.
In any case, you should realize by now that it isn't what you see. It isn't what you think you see. Least of all, is it the cause of intention, whether accidental or deliberate. It's the effect it's likely to have on the client.
Client? What client? You mean Flower?
Oh, that's him too, of course. But actually, I was thinking more of Mrs. Wilbert.
My spouse?
If you care to put it that way. My client.
But you're watching her for me. What are you... How long has this been going on?
7 years.
7 years?
It was my wedding present.
But you gave us the cruet set.
This was a little extra something for the bride.
Oh, Dad.
Perkis.
And to think I've had moments of guilt that I was acting for Mum.
You what?
You wouldn't tell her, would you?
Who?
Mrs. Wilbert.
Now, Wilbert, let's not beat about the bush. I'm possessed of certain information. Now, what does one do with information?
Use it to the best advantage.
I should be guilty of gross professional negligence if I didn't. Now, I ask myself, what is the best advantage?
If you're thinking of blackmail, you'll get no money out of me.
Oh, I know that. You can't get blood out of a stone.
Treating me like a common co-respondent, your own son, the fruit of your loins.
Now, that's enough of that. How many times have I told you to eschew emotional entanglements? I might as well have talked to a brick wall. Now, let's act like human beings, shall we? And try and work out how to turn this situation to our best advantage. Yes?
All right.
Now, let's be methodical. Cold, sharp logic. That's what we need. Right.
Go on, then.
Don't rush me. Don't rush me. Look, let's start by mustering the facts. Then we can work out who's lying.
Is someone lying?
Someone's always lying. Now, Perkis is acting for Flower, Wilbert, and Mrs. Wilbert.
Oh, Perkis.
Never mind comment. Let's stick to facts. Wilbert is acting for Mrs. Flower and Perkis.
And Mrs. Perkis.
Oh, dear. Entanglements. Mrs. Flower with Wilbert. Flower with the au pair girl.
Are you sure?
It's your case, don't you know?
I didn't say I didn't know. I said, are you sure?
It's all on tape. Flower's full confession.
That's clever.
Well, you ought to move with the times, Wilbert. We're in the space age now.
Can I hear it?
It's my way of being confidential. Still, I'll...
Let's hear the confession.
Right.
Where is it, then?
Not a great deal to go on.
Is that it?
I must have had it on erase.
Oh, my. You've just heard the conclusion of The Flower Case by James Saunders. In the cast, John LeMesurier was Purkis, Derek Fowlds Wilbert, Robert Lang was Mr. Flower, Gwen Watford was Mrs. Flower, and Rosalind Adams was Gita. The play was produced by Richard Wortley. The executive producer of the Mystery Project is Bill Howell.